Hi, I'm Wyatt from USU's Office of Research. We weren't able to fit everything into our presentation on national parks, forgotten resources, and growing wisely. So here's a bonus section, outdoor recreation and COVID-19. If you want to hear more from our presenters, you make sure to check out their episode of the Instead podcast. And you can also still watch the full presentation. Here's what our researchers are learning about outdoor recreation in the midst of COVID-19. Jessica, we've been emailing, so I know that you were at Bear Lake yesterday recreating. Tell me about your experience at Bear Lake.
I purposely went on a Tuesday rather than going on the weekend. And so that's a nice thing with flexible schedules is you can sort of think, when will it be less crowded? And so we purposely went on a Tuesday. We sort of just made sure that we were further apart from people in the sand than we normally would be. To be honest, it sort of feels like nothing's really going on, like there isn't a pandemic, which it's nice that people are getting out to recreate, but it's also a little bit scary right now to be seeing so many people in relatively close quarters. I mean, not interacting too much, but definitely getting out and enjoying things.
Yeah, it's really been a telling indicator of the value that Utahns place on participating in outdoor recreation. But we've seen that participation rates increase dramatically over the last 5 or 6 months, primarily in the locations where people are living. So people are not taking those multi-day trips anymore to several counties away or out of state, but they're participating in outdoor recreation in places that are closer to home. And then as the summer has kind of picked up, we've seen more and more people still wanting to get outside and to use this new flexibility in their schedules or forced flexibility in their schedules to their advantage.
What's happening in your fields in this current moment? Like, what kind of opportunity has this glitch in the system provide you?
If the pandemic has taught me anything about my research area, it's that recreation isn't just fun. I think it's really an essential service. I mean, we are in a global pandemic, and one of the things that nearly everyone seems to be participating in, and if they previously participated in, maybe even more so or in new ways, is outdoor recreation. The systems that we have set up, particularly in national parks, are designed to funnel people into concentrated areas. So Arches National Park, the first day they reopened to the public, the park gate was almost instantly closed because of the amount of traffic that was there outside the park. So there's a lot of latent demand for people to go and access these landscapes still. Some of these trails see 1,000 or more people per day on them, and that high level of use can make it difficult to stay away from other people. And so we are trying to look at what are some of the factors that help explain people's ability to socially distance from each other. So is it about visitor density on the trail? The number of people using the trail, is that a predictive factor of the ability to socially distance? Or group size, or the trail width itself, using observation. So we're observing visitors in Arches and trying to look at their behavior.
So some of my past research has looked at how economic recessions impact migration to these high amenity rural areas. And what it typically shows is that when we have a recession, you see migration levels decline. And anecdotally, what we're hearing, I haven't done any research on this yet, but it seems to be that in certain types of high amenity rural places that people might be seeking them out because their jobs are allowing them to work by distance and because they want to be in a place where the population density is lower and where they go do outdoor stuff much more easily. It'll be interesting to examine whether or not this particular recession results in the same sort of demographic trends that we typically see with economic recessions. And I would say that some of the emerging evidence is pointing to not a decline in migration to these high amenity areas, but perhaps an increase.
One of the things that we've seen with working with gateway communities around Utah is exactly that. We look at a lot of the economic indicators that are good representations of what's going on in those communities, the economic activity in those communities, and there definitely is this upward trend in the types of jobs in professional and technical services, in the leisure and hospitality industries. And what we've been hearing from a lot of these communities around Utah is that that they're really concerned that the coronavirus pandemic is going to really rapidly cause much more many migration to these locations, that there's going to be much more demand to live in these places. And now we've kind of proven after 5-6 months of working from home, and we've seen that the areas that have gotten hit the most and where the virus is most likely to be transmitted to others, and that's in large urban centers, people are starting to look for places where they can live and still have their jobs, so they can still earn the wages that they would in a big metropolitan center. And so there's a big concern in trying to develop in smart and thoughtful ways about how you do that responsibly, how that growth happens in a way that doesn't lead to rampant housing costs, so that a lot of those leisure and hospitality employees who are only in those communities seasonally can actually afford to live there throughout the year. So that's a big concern, is that we've always seen that trend, at least over the past 30 or 40 years, as these communities have transitioned away from resource extraction and into outdoor recreation and tourism dependent economies. But the past 6 months have really kind of sent some signals that trend is going to be rapidly increasing in the months ahead.